What's up, and welcome back to another episode of InSights, the podcast built to help you with your recruitment and digital marketing. As always, I'm joined by Bialy Marketing's Director of Recruitment Marketing. He's Matt Lozar. Matt, how are we feeling this week, buddy?
We're feeling good, Brad. How are you feeling?
I'm great. I have been battling some sick over here lately, Matt. I talked about it on the show multiple episodes in a row, but no free plugs. I do wear a Whoop band, and I have had green recovery like 6 or 7 days in a row, which means I'm feeling good right now.
The analytics behind the sleep recovery and all that is super interesting to me. That all that goes into it. As I'm sitting here yawning 87 times before the show, and Brad's trying to educate me on the 87 things I probably should have done yesterday and on Sunday that could help. But that's in the past. We're going to move forward. Maybe go pound some vitamin C proactively, which who knows if it works. And Brad will keep telling me what I'm doing right and doing wrong.
You know what I have been doing lately, and this is something I want to talk about. I've been hitting the sauna more.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That was not what I was expecting. Where are you going into the sauna?
We got one at the gym.
We? Oh.
Yeah, we. Me, myself, and I. Dude,
wow. Do you have you sauna friends? Actually...
Honestly, do I have sauna friends? I go to the gym pretty much every day at the same time. So I have sauna acquaintances. Yeah. Would they be at my funeral? No. Do I give them a head nod and a sup when I see them? Yeah, I do.
I've never been.
Ooh, buddy, the benefits are outrageous.
Well, I'm glad that it's working out for you.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll think about it. I don't really have a sauna in my rotation, but
right.
We'll give it a whirl. Maybe I'll order one for the basement.
That would be exceptional. I'll tell you, man, wow. I feel good when I leave. It's really interesting, right? So you sit in there like 15 minutes. I don't know. I try to do like 3 days a week. I've done that for like a month now. Feel very, very good. So yeah, that's what's new in my life. Feel good, hitting the sauna, cutting grass. Obviously, by this time of drop, man, we'll have had a couple rounds of golf under our belt. So summer's looking up. Things are looking up, man. And you know, as long as the sun's shining, I think my mood is just drastically different. So, you know, no complaints from Team Bialy.
No complaints. Sun is up. And if anybody has any tips
this.
Long days at the baseball or softball diamond in the summer, leave them in the comments. That's where Matt's going to spend a lot of time, which is great. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it's people helping people out here, and variety of topics in the opening. And now it's time to get to the show.
You know what? We don't do that enough. You know, we give you so much value. Darn it. You message Matt and you tell him what to do when he has a softball tournament. All right. 143 episodes of value we've given you. Matt has one simple request. Yeah, Matt, it probably is a lot of fun, but like at what point do you... Like you got to pack lunches, you got to plan accordingly. Otherwise you're eating the Snack Shack, Cracker Jacks and Twizzlers and stuff, right? Like this is, I could talk about this forever.
At the mercy of the concession stand, like at the hockey rink, it's all what we do. So yeah, anything we can plan ahead, this helps. You know, those long days are fun, but you gotta help the kids recover and stay hydrated and all that fun stuff that comes with summer tournaments.
All right, so listen, Matt has a simple question. If you have any recommendations for what he can do at softball tournaments this summer, if you've listened to more than 3 episodes of InSights, you are legally obligated to message him on LinkedIn and just give him a quick tip, a quick piece of advice. That's all. That's all we ask for.
I'm going to start with one. Okay, then we'll go.
Sounds good to me.
Bug spray.
Oh, that is a pro tip.
See, don't think about it. You think about the sunscreen and all that kind of stuff,
Segment 1, what are we bringing to the ballpark? Let's, you know what, throw out the list.
I don't know. This is why I need tips.
Yeah, bug spray is good. I'm bringing snacks. I'm bringing at least 2 protein bars. I'm going to have to bring bottles of water because I drink way too much water. You obviously bring a chair. Does your chair have a canopy?
It does not have a canopy. It has...
something to think about.
Backpack straps, which gets rave reviews. So it frees up 2 hands for all the other junk you got to carry to the diamond.
Yeah. Are you the dad that brings a scooter cooler?
No.
Ooh, okay.
Make friends with them.
Of course. Bug spray, a chair. Now we're bringing snacks and water.
Sunscreen.
Obviously sunscreen. Open your heart, open your wallet, because you know your daughter's going to ask for some snacks. I get that. So we're at 6 things that we're bringing. So now we are bringing a backpack for sure.
What are we forgetting? Let us know.
A battery pack for your phone.
Yeah,
I mean, you're there all day.
That.
Yeah, a battery pack for your phone is probably helpful. Here's one. How about we go to the dollar store and get a nice Sudoku?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. I was going to bring a book.
Books are good too. You know, I support books, right? What if we got like in dollar store, Amazon.com? I believe that's still a website. Just look up a nice like 100-page Sudoku from easy to hard, and you could just get some mind work in while you're there.
I think we got a good list. Hopefully we gave the listeners didn't answer our own question, which is like the worst thing you could do possible in content. But we'll see if this makes a cut, and let us know what we forgot.
All right, Matt, I want to talk about eliminating spend when times are tough. So I have calls with clients, roughly 3-4 calls a day. And a lot of the industry right now is in a pickle, right? Orders are hard to come by. The quality of application is down. The industry as a whole, is it down 21%, 23%? Is that what I heard on ASA recently? Let's say it's 20 just to make it easy. You might be up or down a little bit, deviate from that a little bit, but let's say it's 20%. Times are a little bit tough right now in 2024. As a result of that, when business is down, we get a little sensitive about where we're spending, right? Where are we bloated? Where are we spending too much? Where are we allocating resources where we don't need to allocate those resources? Matt, I want to talk about the dangers of eliminating spend when times are tough. Now, specifically, let's talk recruitment marketing. Why should you not eliminate that spend? Or secondary question to that, alternative question, why should you be more mindful of the spend when times are tough?
I think companies are being mindful. I don't know if they're cutting on the recruit. No, I don't know if they're eliminating on the recruitment side. Some might.
Yeah.
You have to be mindful of the spend because they're still the business. The doors have to, proverbial doors if you're remote, or real doors if you're brick and mortar, have to stay there, and you have to pay for the lights and paychecks and traditional expenses. On the recruitment side, if things are tough, it's looking at how to eliminate the wasted spend, and just there's spend that needs to be there to fill your active orders. Brad and I, we kicked around before the show talking about building your bench. So can you build those database of candidates to have when orders pick up a little bit, or to skill market right now? And I think just on that recruitment side, being mindful of the spend and, really, really tracking down what's working well, down to if it's cost per quality hire. I think we're going to talk about a little bit later with source of hire. But on the recruitment side, just being mindful and making the right decisions, and just totally eliminating a risky decision that we're here. And I think that's what we want to, bounce back and forth, is how to make sure we're still spending appropriately.
I don't like the thought of eliminating just for sake of doing it. I will always advocate for making sure we're spending money the right way, whether that's in your personal life or your business. There was no one who hates wasting money more than me. So when we think about, hey, why do I have 6 subscriptions to Netflix and Hulu and all this? Am I really saving money, or should I just buy cable? All the way to, well, why am I paying for all of this as it relates to recruitment marketing? We need to know the ROI and the value that we're getting in everything that we do. And if you're not ROI positive and you can't articulate, well, what's the value in what I'm doing, then absolutely get rid of it. Right. Matt, I actually, let me tell you this, man, I had to get all new credit cards. I was compromised. Hate to say it. It happens. What are you going to do? Not going to talk about how, because I'm not going to let the listeners do it again. But I know it was one of you. But good time now for me, because I'm going to get a whole bunch of emails being like, hey, we weren't able to auto renew you on ABC. Right. So it's like, oh, well, do I really need that? It's a good time to think about it for me personally. We need to do that and sort of have this cleanse with some of our processes and with some of our software and some of our tools that we're using. So where do we go from there, right? When we think about being wiser with our spend, and maybe this comes into our next topic of evaluating cost per apply per platform, how do we become intentional with every recruitment marketing dollar spent?
If we're focused on recruitment marketing and looking at the costs, the goal, the holy grail, is to determine what I'm putting onto Indeed, ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn, any job board, what's coming back. And the holy grail we're trying to get to is not cost per apply.
Right.
I think it's cost per quality application. Some people could say cost per hire. We could argue that. But
What do you mean by cost per quality application?
I think cost per quality application is you have this job and it could be a send out, it could be a submittal, it could be someone that you can place, a candidate you can place. Because actually this conversation with the job board yesterday, they were getting evaluated on cost per hire. And I'm talking to the guy and he's like, that's not really fair to us.
Right.
Because there's a lot that goes into that process that's why I think cost per quality application's a appropriate level, because it's not just giving you someone who's totally unqualified for the job, a nurse for an accounting job, but it's giving you someone that you can either submit in this job or a different job in your database. That's why I think cost per quality application's the best one, because there's the hiring manager decision. There could be this person applied to 5 other jobs, or the schedule doesn't work, or whatever details become apparent after initial application.
So when you're looking at let's assume cost per quality application is sort of the North Star. Let's just accept that as fact on this episode. Then we're looking at lead source for applications, and we're evaluating, okay, if I'm spending $1,000 on Indeed, $1,000 on Facebook, $1,000 on whatever, can I measure quantifiable quality applications from those sources, right?
And the challenge is quality, because quality is different for every job, every almost recruiter, every company, every staffing agency. Quality is not a universal. There's just universal level for that. It's going to be different for anyone. So that's where it becomes a challenge in terms of what is quality. And also then we're talking about just even tracking that source. We have to have a really good process as a company to make sure the source tracking's in place, easy to track, doesn't have a lot of friction. And there's a whole rabbit hole we're probably not going to go down with that. But when Matt applies to the job, how easy is it for it to say that he came from LinkedIn or Brad came from Indeed in your ATS? So when you have to run those reports and justify recruitment spend, however often you need to justify a report on it internally, how easy is it for you to say, okay, the cost per quality application was X on job board A, it was Y on job board B. Making sure all those systems are in place can help you show the ROI.
What do you say to the company who's listening right now saying, okay, I get it. Cost per quality application matters, but I know in my heart, I also need to be on ZipRecruiter. I know in my heart, I also need to be spending money on Facebook ads or Google ads. I just believe that as a fundamental truth. So I know that I'm going to have a lower cost per quality application on site A, but in my mind, I believe I need to still spend on place B. Is that still becoming a necessary evil, or do you suggest punting that spend and moving it where you are getting quality applications?
I think it kind of comes down to your belief.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of ways this can go. Could you put all your eggs in one basket and just job board source A or your candidate source A? You could. Is it risky? Yeah, it's like an investment strategy. Because if it goes away, then can you pivot quickly enough to adjust? I would say having multiple sources probably makes sense, because supplemental talent can be good. And it comes down to it probably comes down to how different is it? Like if you're getting $5, this is extreme example, cost per quality applicant on one source and $200 on another one, should you do it just because you should be there? No. If it's $20 and $30 and $20, something like that, probably. And then you can determine what the allocation should be. So just to do it because you have to probably doesn't make sense. But if you feel like you need a presence on Facebook or ZipRecruiter or Indeed or LinkedIn or wherever it is, there's probably the right strategy that can help you reach that smart business goal.
So I'll take the other side on that. And we were talking ahead of the show about a podcast that I love to listen to, Modern Wisdom. Chris Williamson had Gary Vee on a little while ago. And Matt, and actually listeners probably know this, I used to be a huge advocate for Gary Vee. Huge. Kind of stopped listening to him. I feel like he's kind of like the guy that he gets you on your way. And then every now and again, like you don't need him every day. And then you're reminded and you come back. It's kind of like faith in a way, right? Not to compare Gary Vee like that, but it kind of is, right? Like he guides you one way and then you get off.
Doesn't he say that?
Maybe. It makes sense though, right? Like I don't need his rah every single day, but there are times where like I'll see one of his social posts and it's like, oh, that's good. And that's what I'm bringing to the show right now. The two of them were talking about winning the battle for attention. So to play devil's advocate on what you just said of diversifying applications and spreading that out, if it's hard to get quality applications right now, and we can accept that as an industry, we just put out an episode on quality of applications stinks, right? So friends, if you haven't checked out that episode, go back to, and it's right there for you. If the quality of application stinks, why not pivot and double down into what is working right now? If you have the data that says, hey, this is working, exploit it until you can't, and then move somewhere else. I think, Matt, what might get us in trouble as an industry is we set ourselves down a path of, well, this used to work, or, we used to do this and it was working for us, so we need to keep doing it, or, it worked in the past, so let's stay down that road. Friends, maybe we need to have the courage to say, listen, if it's not working anymore, get rid of it and try something different, or double down on what is working. Matt, I've said about the PPC side of things multiple times. If you find an ad that is working and doing what it's supposed to, double down on it, triple down on it. If it's finally doing what you want it to do, scale it up. So maybe we look at being a little bit more courageous and saying, okay, our cost per quality application is significantly lower on a site like ZipRecruiter, whatever it might be. Good. Give them more money then and let it keep running. And if it's going to work, let it work until it's broken. Then find somewhere else to get applications. Maybe that's the approach, Matt. I don't know.
Gary Vee's talked about that forever. Squeeze as much as you can out of one source and then move. I think it's your ability to pivot. And it in the job board world, which I don't want to just focus on, but if you have to watch your metrics and understand what your cost per quality app is, it's not always linear. There's going to be a finite number of warehouse workers in your geographic market. There's going to be a finite number of registered nurses in your market. So find that balance and make sure it still fits your business model to determine how much the investment should be.
That kind of brings us to another point of building a bench, right? So we've talked about how you just said there's only so many qualified, welders in Buffalo, New York. I always use the welding example because I think it's easy. There's only so many welders in Buffalo, New York. So if you're hiring and you need to put welders to work, the same 1,000 people that can do the job, or you got to talk about upskilling, things like that, cross training, whatever it might be. Okay. Matt, talk to me why there's value in building a bench of candidates, even if you don't have the open order right now.
Speed wins. We've talked about 1,000 internally. Like that's the two words that answers that, because if there's especially a finite number, we'll go with a skilled trade, where you can't just source the talent actively when the order comes in. Order comes in, you see it, and they need 5 welders, and you have 12 to send within hours, minutes of receiving that. As soon as 2 seconds after you get that, that's awesome. And that's what the goal is of building the bench.
Yeah. I'm wondering how many people listening right now have an active bench, have for the orders that they typically receive. Peak production for whatever organization in Buffalo, New York typically takes off in December or whatever it might be, whatever month. Do you have a bench ready to go for when that order is going to drop? Because historically it drops on a certain or around a certain date or around a certain month, right? When peak production is in your area. We need a bench. Like Matt said, speed wins. Matt, I want to talk client side for a second. We talked a lot about candidates for quite a bit here. What do we do if people just really aren't hiring right now? I'm hearing time and time again, Brad, it almost hurts to say, but hey, we believe you. We know the marketing stuff works. We get it, but no one's hiring. We can't get conversations. We can't get orders. So why do any of this in the first place? I hear you. I get it. I'm on enough calls to accept that in a way. Matt, what do you propose we do if, companies in Buffalo just aren't hiring right now in a certain vertical?
You're asking the recruitment guy this question?
Well, I got to pitch the question to you. I'm not going to pitch it to myself.
Nobody listens to us. Nobody loves a solo podcast.
Didn't Patrick Mahomes' wife, didn't she say that? Like he can throw the ball, but he can't throw it and catch it. I feel like She said that in a presser one day.
Yeah, you got to keep the greatest quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, in line with them.
Right.
Can't get that too big. What would I do? I would focus on my message and that information, because somebody's going to be hiring.
Yeah.
I think is every door going to be closed in your geographic market for your industry? Probably not. I mean, that would seem way past a little down in a dip, can be a down dip, in a dip that we're in right now in the staffing industry. So I would focus on my messaging, an employee value proposition, testimonials, case studies. So when I do get that opportunity, because you shouldn't stop. If nobody's hiring, you shouldn't stop. You should keep plugging away and being, with touch points to answer the pain point that person, that company has to be having. There has to be a pain point there. They're not all sunshines and roses with all the companies. So what can you really, really do to diversify yourself and not just say we have better service and care about our clients and candidates? What would you do?
I would do more. And Matt, it's an interesting conversation, and it's one that I hear a lot, and why I wanted to talk about it on the show. If no one is hiring right now, we need to do more than we've ever done to get in front of those people so that when they are hiring, they know who to call. Every sales activity now is a relationship building activity, where if let's just accept for sake of the conversation, these companies are not hiring. It's not that they don't want to work with us. It's not that they have another competitor that's working with them. It's not that they're hiring internal. They are not hiring. Okay. For the conversation. If that's the case, I want to do everything I can to become Matt Lozar's buddy and best friend so that when he is hiring, he knows to pick up the phone and call me and not send that job out to the open market, not try to do it internal, not try to go to one of my competitors. I want to do everything I can to stay in Matt's world for the next 3 to 6 months so that when he is hiring in October, he picks up the phone and it's not even a second thought to shoot me a text message and say, hey, Brad, just got an order for you. We need a couple welders to work on this project. I know you're perfect for it. Can you get it done by the end of the week? That's what I want to do. So it changes the marketing landscape, not so much tactically to Matt, like you said, the messaging. It's changing what we have to stop selling what it is that we do. We have to stop selling staffing services. We have to stop selling what it is that, on paper, what we provide, and change it to relationship 101 in my mind.
They know what you do. More than likely.
You would think, but we still call people and say, this is what we do. This is what a staffing firm is. And if that is our only angle of messaging, there is no wonder no one wants to work with us, because they're hearing that conversation all day. If we sell, I actually just posted this on LinkedIn the other day. If we continue to sell on what we do instead of the value that we provide, we are sprinting to the bottom. We are absolutely sprinting to the bottom. And now is a great time to get your entire sales team together and say, okay, what are you posting on LinkedIn? What are your sales activities? Who are you calling on? What are you saying when you call Matt? What are you saying when you shoot Matt an email? What do our sales automations look like? Are we drastically still trying to sell? Because if we're going to accept that these companies are not giving us orders because they're not hiring, change the messaging. Change the messaging. Matt, it's I'm passionate about it, man. Go.
A wise man in Haley Marketing once told me staffing is not a one-call close, even though some people might think it is. So Brad's been pushing that. It was a big, talk for him probably Q4. I feel like you said that a lot. And it's not. It's a relationship business, and the industry knows that. But we got to get back to that and really develop those relationships. So when the time comes for hiring, you're top of the list.
You know why we revert back to old ways is because sales commissions revert back to old ways. You make money based on closing the order, and you don't make money based on impressions on LinkedIn and posting feel-good content and developing a relationship with Matt. You don't close the order in May by saying, hey, Matt, you want to go hit a bucket of balls with me? Like, listen, man, I don't want to do any business with you. I just want to get to know you better. You don't make money on that. So then the sales team is saying, okay, well, let's focus on sales activities that will bring sales right now. I am challenging that, saying, well, how do we close sales in October? And that is a very, very difficult pill to swallow. And Matt, therein lies, okay, how do you get buy-in on methodology like that?
Wow, I'm not smart enough to figure out the compensation model for that, but that could be one heck of a way to challenge the status quo and see if your business could succeed.
It's just tough, right? But that's the answer, right? So it's like, well, why are we constantly saying, well, these are our most placeable candidates, and why are we trying to sell? Because commissions depend on it across the industry for sure. So we need to challenge that in a way. And I'm not asking owners to completely flip the model, right? Sales commissions have been a thing forever. But if people truly aren't hiring, what is going to motivate your team to stay focused, stay motivated now when we're looking at closing orders in the fall, right? Especially when their livelihood depends on it. Very, very difficult conversation to be a part of, very difficult conversation to figure out.
It's a great thing to think about. I love that thought, because you need the relationship and you need to do the groundwork. But on the flip side, the business owner can be like, yeah, great, man. If you took out 20 clients to dinner and there's no revenue to pay for the dinner,
right,
that's really cool to think about.
I mean, I can tell you firsthand, we brought in a client at Haley Marketing because we had put out podcast content for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And then finally she said, Brad, I love the show. I love what you're talking about. You know, you and Matt talk about on the show. I'd love to work with Haley Marketing, right? That took 4 years. Now, I'm not saying sales teams need to wait that long to close an order, but it is a long game. It is a very, very long game. And we need to be mindful of that in certain situations. And friends, that's where I think we need to continue thinking about. Matt, anything else before we get out of this one, man? That was a really good conversation.
That was good. No, I have nothing to add. I think some things to think about for the industry, and hopefully some helpful tips.
That's our show. Thank you for listening to another episode of InSights. If you found this episode valuable, we would love to know. You can message Matt or Brad on LinkedIn and share your thoughts. If you have a question for us, you could tweet us at Haley Marketing and let us know what you're thinking, or email info@haleymarketing.com. And of course, if you need a hand with your marketing or recruitment marketing initiatives, we would love to help. Message info@haleymarketing.com and be sure you tell them that InSights sent you. My podcast partner, Matt Lozar, this is Brad Bialy. We'll see you next time.